Direct News TV. May 31, 2024. Biden allows Ukraine to hit Russian targets with U.S. arms, angering Moscow. United States President Joe Biden has eased a ban on Ukraine using U.S. weapons inside Russian territory to help the country defend its northeastern Kharkiv region from attack. Several U.S. officials, speaking on condition of anonymity, told multiple media outlets on Thursday that Kiev would be allowed to use the weapons on the border of the Kharkiv region, which came under renewed Russian attack earlier this month. The U.S. decision, which has predictably angered Kremlin officials, marks a policy shift by Biden, who had refused to let Kiev use U.S. weapons beyond Ukraine's borders, and comes as France and other European countries indicated Ukraine would be allowed to use their weapons on military targets inside Russia. Kiev will be authorized to strike military targets on the border with the Kharkiv region, where Russia has overrun a number of villages since May 10, forcing the evacuation of thousands of residents. The president recently directed his team to ensure that Ukraine is able to use US-supplied weapons for counter-fire purposes in the Kharkiv region, so Ukraine can hit back against Russian forces that are attacking them or preparing to attack them, a U.S. official told the Reuters, AFP, and the Associated Press news agencies. The change was first reported by online media outlet Politico. Amid the debate, Russian President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday warned of serious consequences, stressing his country's nuclear strength if Ukraine's Western allies loosen their policy. Russia's RIA Novosti agency quoted Andrei Kartapalov, the head of the Russian lower house's defense committee, as saying on Friday that Moscow will retaliate asymmetrically to Ukrainian attacks on its territory using weapons provided by the U.S. Senior Russian security official Dmitry Medvedev said Russia was not bluffing when it spoke of the possibility of using tactical nuclear weapons against Ukraine, and that its conflict with the West could escalate into an all-out war. In a post on his official Telegram channel, Medvedev said Moscow's conflict with the West was developing according to the worst-case scenario and that no one can rule out it escalating to the last stage. Germany on Friday also suggested Ukraine could use weapons supplied by Western countries to defend itself. Germany discussed with allies the fact that Russia has carried out strikes on the Kharkiv region from positions in the immediately adjacent Russian border area, a government spokesperson said in a statement. "We are jointly convinced that Ukraine has the right, guaranteed under international law, to defend itself against these attacks," the spokesperson said. It can also use the weapons supplied for this purpose in accordance with its international legal obligations, including those supplied by us. It's the right move. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has been urging Kiev's allies to allow it to use their longer-range weaponry to hit targets on Russian soil amid a surge in attacks this month, particularly on Kharkiv, Ukraine's second-largest city, some 30 kilometers, 19 miles, from the border with Russia. A Russian attack at midnight, 2100 hours o'clock GMT, killed at least 3 people and injured 16 after a Russian missile hit an apartment block in the city. Last weekend, 19 were killed after a Russian attack on a hardware superstore. The Biden administration has come a long way from their hypersensitivity to and misunderstanding of the risk of escalation, Alexander Vindman, a retired Army lieutenant colonel and former director for European affairs at the White House National Security Council under the Trump administration, told Reuters. He applauded the shift in Biden's policy, which he said unties Ukraine's hands. "Of course, it's the right move," Vindman said. David Durox, a U.S. defense policy specialist at the Near East South Asia Center for Security Studies, said the Biden administration has shown a pattern of initially denying Ukraine's request and eventually giving in due to the realities on the ground. "There's another dynamic here," he told Al Jazeera. "The Ukrainians with their own weapons have been attacking Russia's nuclear infrastructure. They just damaged the Krasnodar early warning radar with a domestically produced drone, that's very far within Russia. Early on this year, they attacked the strategic Engels bombing base. Paradoxically, allowing Ukraine to strike within Russia within this limited tactical operation, the price for that is the cessation of Ukrainian strikes on the strategic capabilities of Russia. The US is the biggest supplier of weapons to Ukraine in its battle to push back the Russian military, which began a full-scale invasion of the country in February 2022. The Biden decision came hours after NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg told the alliance's foreign ministers that the time had come to relax the restrictions placed on Kiev over the use of the weapons and enable Ukrainians to really defend themselves. The U.S. officials said Washington would continue to prohibit Ukraine from using ATACMS, which have a range of up to 300 kilometers, 186 miles, and other long-range U.S. weapons for attacks deep inside Russia. Moscow has been using missile launchers and other military sites just inside its border with Ukraine to support its offensive in the Kharkiv region, while fighter aircraft have been used to unleash glide bombs on Kharkiv itself, which was home to about 1.5 million people before the war. On Thursday, Ukraine's top military commander Oleksandr Syrsky said Russia was moving additional regiments and brigades to the north of the Kharkiv region, just across the border. My name is Kingsley. Please like, share, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be the first to be notified whenever we post. You won't regret it.